I'm dying.
You know what else I think is a punny word? Punny. I can't. Never mind.
Okay.
Come on, take a ride. We're here by your side. Sit down, shut up, and grab a drink. You're healing with the Disco Queens. Hello, groovy people. I'm Susanna.
And I'm Alex, and welcome back to
Healing with the Disco Queens. If you are new, we have been friends for 10 years, a whole decade, and this is our podcast. This is where we talk about us being friends and all of the beauty and also struggles of being in your 20s.
Struggles.
Yeah. And we like to reflect on our own experiences. And also give advice to like our younger selves.
Yeah. This is low-key therapy for ourselves.
Yeah.
So this is the podcast where if you just need to take a break from life because life is hard.
Life be lifing.
Life be lifing, whether it's personal, whether it's societal, whatever. Let me tell you, like, here we are just chilling and trying to take a little bit of control over our own lives. So grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's get started.
Yes. Each episode we like to name after a 70s song, specifically sung by a female. Thank you very much. And it's our disco era. So we like to talk about what song we chose for each episode, and it reflects on the topic that we talk about. Yeah. So our song tonight is If I Can't Have You. If I can't have you, I don't want nobody, baby.
Yes. And you know what? I
it.
started putting all of our songs that we've been doing this on a little like Spotify list.
Oh,
And
yes! A little playlist.
Yes, a little playlist. But we picked a song, just one. If you've ever listened to disco or a lot of things in the 70s, there's a lot of love songs. There's a lot of heartbreak. Like, it's crazy.
Yep.
So even though this is a love song, I think we're taking it a little different direction when we heard the lyrics. And I was like, oh my gosh. Tonight we're talking about career changes and what it's like to be in that moment of your life and be like, this is not working out for me anymore. So I've got to change. And so one of the lyrics that I thought was really interesting was, if I turn away. It's like, what was it? All the tears that I cry are wasted if I turn away.
Yeah.
And like, we're gonna get into more detail in a second, but that's genuinely what I felt when I came to a pivotal part of my decision to change up what I was doing. I had spent all this time and energy into education and studying, and then 6 years almost felt wasted. We're gonna get into it a little bit.
Right. I just think too, like you said, it's all about more love songs in the disco era. And I wanted to point out too, like, a lot of women in that era weren't really working, you know? Yeah. And they may have had some jobs, or it could have been part-time or whatever. So you didn't really see a lot of women represented in like careers and things like you do now.
Right.
And so it was kind of difficult for us to find a song that was about work. A lot of it, about working, like from a woman's perspective, but so what would be perceived as a love song, we actually were like, maybe not.
Well, I don't know, I was always told, like, fall in love with your work.
Yeah.
And so, like, that was
it's a passion, like it should be a passion. Yeah.
And so when you genuinely enjoy what you're doing and then you have to walk away, I mean, it's just another breakup. People grieve jobs. Is 20's the season of grieving?
Probably. Well, and think about it. You're grieving like your childhood, right? Like you are coming into adulthood. It is the pivotal era. So you're leaving your childhood behind. You're trying to figure out who you are, what your placement is in this world that we were just thrusted upon. And so it is kind of grieving. And you go through so many changes within this time period that career changes, relationships, friends, stress, whatever. If you haven't heard the past 4 episodes, like, we get into all of this. There's a recurring theme. And so, yeah, it's absolutely grieving.
Yeah. So yeah. So tonight's all about career changes, what led up to what we've experienced and what we're doing now. But of course, we've got to talk about what we're drinking tonight.
Our drink. So here we are. Cheers. Our beautiful pina colada. Oh my gosh, so good. What I love about this drink, because we were kind of getting creative. We're like, a drink about a career? Like, what are we... And last time we talked about boundaries, right? And so now we're kind of moving on, boundaries with a career, why we changed, oftentimes. And we realized one of the biggest things, especially that increases burnout, is not taking that time for yourself. And so we wanted to choose a little tropical vacation drink, because somebody told me one time, they said, you don't get a reward for not taking your PTO or not taking vacation days or whatever have you. Like,
period.
If you're a lot of days at your job, or if you just need a day, a lot of places are doing mental health days now. Like, take them.
And don't feel guilty.
No.
Which we're getting ahead of ourselves.
I mean, we are.
Let me tell you.
Of course we do.
Of course we do. If you haven't heard yet, this is actually Healing with the Disco Squirrels.
Yes.
And that's all right. But I think we've got our fruity little drink.
Yeah.
And we're going to go on vacation.
Yes.
So let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So, getting into our topic, we wanted to kind of go down memory lane and talk about our experience with our careers. Yeah. We have changed like so many different times, I feel like, and been all over the place. Both of us have masters, yas, but it's taken a long way to get there. So I'm going to kind of start us off. When I went to the college that we went to, and I met this beautiful woman right here. I was a little 18-year-old, and I wanted to be a psychology major. I mean, I feel like you hear a lot of people too that major in psychology and they're like doing something else anyways. Do you ever feel like that happens? Or you move on up, but I feel like if you have a bachelor's in psych, you need something else.
Well, you have to. So psychology is one of the careers. So back it up to teaching. You have to have a 4-year degree, period. Like, that's it. You don't have to have a master's.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of other fields like psychology. Psychology, you cannot learn everything you need to learn to work in any field in psychology with 4 years.
Right.
It's different than social work.
Yeah. So that is what... There's this whole other part of just like education and getting into a career, and it's a lot. And I feel like they don't teach you that in high school. They don't teach you like, okay, well, if you want to do this, you're going to have to, like, this is your longevity. This is everything. Unless you're in medical school, then you're like, okay, well, yeah, that takes a decade.
That takes 27 years.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Here we are, 40, just starting a career. No.
But seriously.
But yeah, like, so I wanted to major in psychology. I had no idea, you guys. Like, I was 18. I didn't even know what a scholarship was. I literally thought they sent you a check in the mail. I'm not even kidding. I was like, what is that? I don't understand. So
did I get my check yet?
Yeah, like, this is me going to college, and I was terrified. And anyway, I, went to my Psych 101 class, and I had a great professor. I learned a lot, and also she was very hard.
Yeah.
She was very difficult, and I mean, that's great and wonderful, but I like almost made a D in Psych 101. And so also, like, I had a sorority and like all the job and like all the different things, and I met her, and like but listen, actually when I majored in psych, that was not when we were like hanging out. No. Like, that was my fall semester freshman year. So
you didn't become
I'm not blaming that on you.
Yeah, that wasn't me. But here's the thing, tangenting off of you just briefly.
Yeah.
You have to think about, because this goes in a little bit to my story, but we'll get there, of you are literally programmed from the time you enter school of what do you want to be? 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 And like,
dude, the first job, there's actually a question, there's a game that's like, do you really know this person or something? And one of the questions was, what was the first job you ever wanted to do ever as a kid? Like a lot of people are like, I want to be a dinosaur or what or something. Like I want to be an astronaut or something. I want to be Barney. Like, no, I wanted to be a cashier. No kidding. That is what I wanted to be as like a kindergartner. Like, yeah. And me being in the industry. Funny enough.
What did you witness as a child?
I don't know.
You said, actually, I need to make cash now.
Maybe. Probably. I don't know. Here we are. The difference. No, I don't know why. I don't even know how I knew what a cashier was at the time.
Maybe you had like a really cool one at like DW or something.
Yeah,
that was,
maybe.
Like, really nice to you.
Or like Walmart or something. I don't know. And maybe I just, in my little child brain, enjoyed the people interaction.
Right. It could have been anything.
Who knows? But anyway.
Heading back to college.
Yes. Still a cashier.
Still a cashier.
I'm a bartender. There's a difference. I take cash transactions. Anyways, I'm getting off the rails. So, psych major, 2015. And I, at Thanksgiving, like, I was like, this is too much. This is overwhelming. I don't want my entire degree process to be this difficult. I started getting into like research and I didn't really fully understand that at the time. And like, so yeah, I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't fulfilled during that time. And I even talked to my advisor and he said, you know, if you're already struggling, like I don't recommend moving forward. I mean, he was really the one that was kind of like, hey, yo, maybe this isn't for you. Yeah. So really, that's kind of why I changed. Let's be real. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I also was in choir because I've been involved in music my whole life. I've been in church choirs. I've been in bands, like praise bands and stuff.
Theater.
I've been theater. I've been in band, like marching band and stuff.
You were born on the theater stage.
Yes.
Let's face it. Like,
I mean, what are we doing right now? We're performing.
We are performing for you. Please give us tips.
This is our costumes,
but really.
Yeah, so I have always been musical. I grew up in a musical family. If you know me personally, like, you know the Brown family. And anyway, so I wanted to continue that. I wanted to continue being in some sort of ensemble. And so I was in choir, just in regular university choir. And I loved that environment. I loved my professor, the director, and I loved the people I was around. And so I went home at Thanksgiving and I talked with my parents and I was like, hey, yo, I'm thinking of changing my major.
Yes.
But I didn't really know what I wanted to do. That's the biggest thing. It's like, who knows what they want to do at that age? It's so hard, right? Forever? Like, I have to know what I want to do forever.
I have to know what I have to do to retire.
Yeah. For the next 40, 50 years, whatever.
Till I can vacation.
We're never retiring. Let's be real.
We're never peaking. Mm-mm. Peaking in the grave, brother.
We're picking in the grave. And so, went home at Thanksgiving and my dad was like, why don't we sit down and just look to see what classes would be as a music major? And we did that and I was like, I don't really know if I want to do performance. I don't want to like put that pressure on me. I'm not like a huge, like I like performing, but it's like karaoke, you know, like I'm not going out and being a songwriter and stuff like that. So
you could be though. She could be. Don't let her fool you.
Anyways, so maybe, I don't know, but yeah, I looked at music education because I was like, I grew up in a family of teachers also, and that's kind of my thing. Like I love working with people and you know, maybe kids, I don't know. And so I looked at music ed and it kind of stuck. And so spring of 2016, I became a vocal music ed major. And with the rest of the, 3.5 years, it was interesting to say the least. Like, I had to jump through so many hoops. I did one of the biggest performances of my life with my senior recital. I sang 14 pieces in 5 different languages, memorized. Mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm. I don't even remember that. Like, I blacked that out, but it's on Facebook if you ever want to see me singing classical music, opera style. So anyway, I was, classically trained. Like, it was a whole thing, and I finally got into teaching. I graduated. I went into my first in-service, which is like the meetings that you have right before you start the school year. And I remember sitting in that room and being like, why don't I belong here? Mm-hmm. And that was kind of my first realization. I was in a room full of teachers and I was like, I just don't feel like comfortable.
Right.
And I didn't listen to that. I mean, what was I going to do? Like, quit after day one? Like, right. No. And so, but I vividly remember that thought and that feeling of being like, why don't I, and maybe I thought, I'm just starting out, kind of imposter syndrome, I don't really know. But yeah, there's a reason that I felt what I felt.
Yeah.
Your body doesn't lie. Yeah, so that's pretty much up until I started my career.
Yeah.
Take it away.
You said take it away. Yeah, no, I definitely feel like for me, college was definitely kind of an expectation. It was never blatantly said that it was an expectation, but I'm a 4th generation college kid, actually. I don't know if you knew that. So my great grandfather went to college and was a college graduate. Wow. He actually was going to be on one of the first teams, one of the first college football teams in his state, but had to go work on the farm. So, fun fact. So yeah, when I got to college, for some reason, 18-year-old Alex, I was so dead set on being an art major. I took my art classes in high school. I loved it. And I was like, I'd always been around the arts, like same. Like my family was always around music. My grandmother would take me to galleries and enter me in competitions and just like all of this stuff. So freshman year comes around, goes around, made a bunch of friends, whatever. And it was really sophomore year. I had no idea what the heck I was doing. So here I am, 19-year-old Alex. We had to get our schedules approved before we could actually register. So before you registered, you had to get your hold off and you had to go see your advisor. Yeah. Which is intimidating. Yeah. And so
especially at 18 and you don't know the school and you don't know anyone, you're like,
yeah. And like,
I mean, that's good though, I guess. Get you acclimated. So
well, I will always credit my advisor at this time for this almost tough love. It wasn't like I was in the wrong, but he was very blunt and he said, okay, I sat down terrified, handling my sheet. Yes. And he's like, okay, so what are we gonna do? Because I was scheduling my spring semester of my sophomore year. So literally right before we met. Yeah. And I was almost 20. I really had no idea what I was doing. I just knew that these were the classes that I needed to take. Check, okay, whatever. And he said, so what are we doing? And I said, well, I thought I had them written down. And he said, no, what are we doing? Like, you're not just getting a 4-year education. Like, what are you doing after this? Like, here's all these, and he's laying out all these different paths. And I was like, I don't like any of those. Like, I don't know. I also was about to switch to, was it primary education? Oh. Yeah, because I wanted to teach, like, K through 5th. That's what it is, K through 5th. Wow. Yeah. Wow. So I was, like, having this kind of, like, existential crisis, and, like, I had no idea what I wanted to do, but also I was so stubborn about being an art major to myself. Yeah. I was like, I just don't know. I don't know. Well, he sat me down, we're talking, and I said, well, what about art therapy? He's like, I don't have a lot of information on that, but you go research it and come back to me on Friday.
Interesting.
So he went take my hold off. He didn't take my hold off until I came back.
Yeah.
And so I did the research, and I also had him for a bunch of classes. So like I was seeing him throughout the week. And I said, so here's what I found out. Here's the different schools, and here's what I need to take. So I ended up having to take extra psych classes because of what the grad programs were going to require.
Yeah.
So here I am taking extra classes in my undergrad. So I have a bachelor's of fine arts and studio art, which is where I did my show and all of that.
Yeah.
And then I had already been accepted to the University of Louisville, and that's where I got my master's of counseling with a specialty in it. Counseling with a specialty in art therapy. There it is. It's a title. And so I essentially spent 6 years in school.
Yeah.
6 years of school. And
like back to back.
Yeah, no, I was not. I was always advised, don't take a break.
Right.
Just go ahead and just get it out. And so, like, I look back at that because I've worked with teenagers, I've worked with young adults, I've worked with college kids, and they're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm like, I didn't either. And that's totally okay. And sometimes we have those people in our lives, even though I was totally intimidated at the time. Like, I will always credit my advisor and be like,
right,
I wouldn't be where I'm at now in my career, even with the changes, if it wasn't for that one moment that we sat down and he's like, hey, what are we doing?
That's so interesting, because that's what I was saying is like no one does that. So that is amazing that he was like, you're not just going to get an art degree, point blank period. Like, there is something post this.
Yeah.
And so no one sat me down and was like, hey, you can't just have a psych degree.
Right. But here's the thing. With that advisor, everybody, or I won't say everybody, most of the people that I knew that had him as an advisor went on to do something. Whether they went on and got their master's in art and are now working within a collegiate career, or as a professional artist and a collegiate career, or they're working in education. Like, those were like the two main paths that we always talked about. And so everybody that I knew, that I can think off the top of my head, that had him as an advisor, had not a clear cut, but had a better idea of what the heck was coming next. Yeah. So yeah, I graduated from Louisville in 2020 during the pandemic, and it was a really we all know that was a crazy time, and Louisville was completely shut down at that time. I moved back to Tennessee, and I didn't start my first adult career job until December of 2020. I actually had been waitlisted because I interviewed in like September, and then I finally got a start date. And so I worked for about a year and a half, and this is where we're gonna get into kind of. So I graduated. Let me back up. I graduated from Louisville. I was 24. I left my job at 26, and that was whenever I was like, something's gotta give. So,
well, and what's crazy is like, I just thought of something to say and I forgot it. I feel like we go through school, right? School is like a whole other ballgame than working, obviously. And having been in a career and just gone back to school and now getting back into a job, like, it is a totally different lifestyle. And I don't know, like, it is scary starting that first job, but it's kind of like you need support. You need structure. You need guidance. You need all these different things.
You know, it's so interesting.
And a lot of times you don't get that.
But I've heard that several times, and I'm still really close with my like Louisville girls. And for the most part, because let me say this. So my Louisville program was tough. It was hard. Yeah. It was rough. Our professors were very like real with us, and I appreciate that now. At the moment, I was like, okay, am I gonna have anxiety? But coming out of the program, I felt, and part of it was also my practicum work. My practicum was amazing. My second placement, I had an art therapist who was over me. She was absolutely wonderful. And when I went in for my interview, I nailed it. I just gonna tell you, I nailed it because I knew what to do, what to say. I can answer all the questions. You're prepared. Yeah, and so I've heard from other therapist friends from their programs, they're like, I was so unprepared, like I didn't know this, and I was like, man, I was really glad. Now, this is after crying for 2 years. Yeah, retrospectively, I'm glad that they were hard on us, so then the rest of it became easy versus it was the program was easy, and then the interview process was like, what did I just get myself into? So, right. But that's also how I felt about the art program too. Like all my professors were hard but fair. They weren't unnecessarily like trying to tear you down. That's a different episode.
I mean, it's so interesting because like in my undergrad, the difficult things for me were not even like the education part of it. That honestly, it felt kind of natural. I was like, oh yeah like it's teaching. You're there with kids, like, or what, you know, we went through a lot of, like, behavior management, like, situations, like, scenarios, and we got to be, like, the middle schoolers with the cell phone out, or, like, just, you know, whatever. Right. And so, it was different things like that, but, like, it was the theory courses, it was the music history, like, I failed music history one time. I failed a couple classes, in my music degree. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. And still made it out on time. Those are the hoops I was talking about.
Those are the hoops.
I had to like finagle my way. But yeah, no, I made it and I ended up getting, you know, what I needed to get and graduated like magna or something like that.
I missed cum laude by 1 point.
Wow.
By 1 point.
I missed summa by 1. Yeah.
Here's the thing is I graduated high school with like a 4.0 and then college then I graduated from Louisville with like a 3.9.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Nobody's asking that. Newsflash. If you're in high school and you're hearing this and you're like, oh my gosh, I relate so much, I don't understand. Girl.
It's okay.
Ain't nobody asking. Right. What was your GPA? Yeah.
Nobody cares.
No one cares. So I got into my teaching career after I jumped through all the hoops and graduated and everything. And I, you know, like I said, I felt kind of that imposter syndrome. That happens a lot, actually. That happens a lot with people. It can be natural, but it was like I felt like I didn't belong, you know? All these people around me. It's not that I didn't like those people. I made friends and I loved my colleagues and they were fantastic and very supportive. It just wasn't me.
Right.
And I never really felt that before. Like, you know, when I've been in different groups or ensembles or sorority or like whatever, X, Y, and Z, I always felt like I belonged. And I feel like I never meet a stranger. And so I'm always going to like meet friends and stuff. But it was just this weird, like everybody was talking about all these different educational terms and lesson plans and things that they're doing. And I was just like, why don't I feel like I want to do that? So, and that was like day one.
Literally day one.
But I mean, you know, I gave it a great try. I went through my first year. Of course, your first year in your career, you're going to need a lot of help. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew I had to put on programs. And honestly, like, and I'm not just like tooting my own horn, but I've had a lot of people tell me like my programs were
fantastic,
pretty spot on. Like, I mean, they were great. I love being creative and I love like incorporating. So here's another thing. The job that I had, I wasn't only teaching music. I wasn't teaching elementary music. I taught music, art, drama, and dance because I was in a low-income county and they did budget cuts and cut art programs. And so they called, exactly, whatever. Anyway, And of course, they didn't even have drama programs.
Yeah.
But they made this class in all the elementary schools in the county. They called it creative dramatics. And so I kind of got to customize my own class a little bit. So that was super fun. And I mean, I made it my own, you know. I had like a reward day for the kids, and I had motivation, and I was pulling out all the stops. But I just, for whatever reason, was like, this is not fulfilling. It's not filling my cup, you know.
Well, one, your paycheck wasn't filling your wallet.
That's a whole other thing, right? Well, then March of 2020 hit, and the rest of the school year was out.
Yeah.
From March till June, or March till May, whatever. Because we were a low-income county and we didn't have the proper devices for every student to be able to do school online. Our county wasn't prepared for something like that. And so we completely shut down.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I hear about people having like very difficult times, and of course it was difficult. Like, I totally understand that. I also really appreciated a timeout.
Oh, well.
A timeout, because I was like kind of thrusted into this career, graduate, get a job, boom. And I was in my hometown, in a small town. I knew I didn't want to living with my parents. Didn't want to be in a small town, and I felt like stuck. I was like, I mean, am I going to be here for the next 40 years?
That is so
terrifying. 9 to 5 every day for the next 40 years. Yeah. So I'm like feeling all these feelings, right? And dating back to day one, let's not even forget, I feel like I don't belong here. So all these feelings are pent up. Time stops. I'm able to reflect on a lot of that. And I started looking at like, I knew I wanted to travel. Like, one of my biggest dreams, my bucket list is I want to see every inch of this world. You know, I mean, like, we're here and I want to see it. I mean, let's go. And so I love traveling. I love experiencing different things, cities, cultures, country, whatever. Like, and so I'm like, what can I do to be remote? So I'm looking at different jobs. Like, how can I be remote? How can I live in a camper and travel? Like, I seriously wanted to do this. And then I'm like thinking logically, right? Because I'm like, well, it takes money to get money, like that, and like whatever, to like have a camper and live that lifestyle. I don't know. So
you don't want to know my answer to that.
I know.
That was not you thinking logically.
Right.
That's somebody whispering in your ear.
Yeah. But I was like, I don't feel like that's achievable right now. Yeah. And so of course, I've been a bartender. I've worked in the industry forever. And I was like, maybe I just want to go bartend for a while. I even thought about being on a cruise line and bartending, or performing on a cruise line. Looked into that. I thought about being a flight attendant. I looked at being a travel agent. I looked at so many different jobs, completely different than music, completely different than education. And we went back to school in fall of 2020, and I continued that. We were hybrid, and it was like so weird. But I continued to be a great employee, a great teacher, and providing these kids with some kind of well-rounded education. And then the day after Christmas of 2020, I came out of my room. I had been researching different things, and I told my parents that I found this career called music therapy. And when I found out that it broadens your whole horizon, it broadens population of people you work with, it broadens type of job that you want to do, it broadens the way that you do said job, like it broadens everything. And my degree can transfer, so I'm not wasting 4 years, and I'm doing something that I love. And let's not forget, if you listened back 30 minutes ago or whatever, I majored in psychology for a reason. I wanted to do that line of work for a reason. And now that I was 21, 22 years old, you know, and now even more so later on, 6 years later, whatever. Isn't that crazy?
You were young.
But I was older than 18. And so I made the decision to do music therapy because I wanted to work in mental health. And I was like, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm very passionate about that. I'm like learning about the awareness. At the time, I was like wanting to make a difference. I realized the thing that I focused on a lot when I was working with children specifically was not necessarily like behavior management. Why are they behaving that way? But the issue with education is you can't stop and be like, let's talk about this. Why are you... No,
well,
you just have to correct.
Wired that way.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can't sit there and talk to all 30 of my students and pull them out one by one and, like, ask them why they're...
Well, the state's going to look at it and be like, my mom's an educator.
Yeah.
And she was actually the main reason I did not go into education. Not because of her, but because I grew up as a teacher's kid. And I was like, absolutely not. I see the jump ropes that you've got to go. Like, it is a circus.
Yeah.
It is literally a performance. And this idea of trauma-informed care in schools, what's that?
Yeah.
Trauma-informed care
yeah.
has been
not like
around.
it should be.
It's not at all.
Yeah.
Like, in certain school districts, yes, but in all school districts across our area, it's not.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot more difficult in public school, I can tell you that.
It's just like this idea of, we're getting on a tangent.
So I decided to change some way, and I decided on music therapy, and I started researching more, and I found a school that was in St. Louis that did the equivalency program that would transfer my credits, and here we are, thrusted into now this time period.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, you just graduated, so like you're just now entering the big part of your career change. And so mine was very much, I worked in this field for actually, it was not even 2 years. It was a year and a half. I was the person, by the time I was about to leave, I had been there on my team of like, it was a tier system, right? And of the lowest tier, because that's where I was the longest person who had been there at a year and a half.
That's a red flag.
And so,
okay.
And so, back it up. So I went in kind of eyes wide open because it was very similar to what one of my practicum sites was. And I knew I wanted to work with kids. I knew I wanted to work with trauma. That's my specialty. Like, let's go. And so I interviewed. I was very upfront. I knew I was not going to be there much past getting my license. And I told them that. And there was just some things that would go on or that were said. I'm going to leave this vague because I'm not really sure how much I can talk about it.
Yeah.
Because we signed contracts. And
NDA.
But I'll just say it like this. There was just some things that went on that were extremely uncomfortable. Well, I've talked about this in other episodes. There was one point in time I spoke up about something. They're like, hey, why, like, are you, what's going on? Like, why is this? And I said, well, here's why this is happening. This is why this is happening. And they're like, oh, okay. Nothing we can do about it. And I was like, then don't ask me because you're going to get an honest answer from me. And so, not in a rude way. Just like, don't ask me what's wrong because I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And so, I remember sobbing. I was supposed to have a certain amount of people on my case. And I actually was like 3 or 4 past that. And they're like, well, it's because you're transferring and you're like putting new people in. But for when you did that, they would overlap them. So for a month, I would have 3 or 4 extra. Well, by the time the month had lapsed up, 2 more of my regulars would be discharging, so then I would be opening. So I was staying at this number for 3-4 months. And I said, I can't. So let me back up. I used to travel to people's homes 3 to 5 times a week. And I would do therapy in their home. I actually mildly enjoyed that part because I worked with the families. Could it be awkward? Absolutely. But I genuinely enjoyed working with the families and working with the kids. And I don't know, I just felt like I had a personality that, maybe I'm tooting my own horn a little bit, but just
Toot it.
Here we are. It's our show.
Yes.
But this idea of my personality and just the way that I talk to people, it rarely came off as like, I'm coming in here to like tell you what to do. And I think that a lot of the families I worked with felt that way, that there's just these people infiltrating your space.
Absolutely, yeah.
And how dare you talk to me? How dare you say this? And so I was like, hey, like, and so for the most part, I'm like thinking back, for the most part, I feel like I had a really good rapport with my families. So when I would bring up issues like having too many to count, actually I have a really funny story. So I had too many to count, and they're like, well, what's going on? And I was like, well, here, like, this is not feasible. We need a bouncer. We need somebody to pick up these extras. If people were out, so if you took vacation, I would have to help carry your caseload.
I feel like that's kind of like a HIPAA breach almost.
Well, because
I mean, it's like employees.
It's because they signed with the company, and so it's in the contract.
But how are you going to have rapport with that person?
Exactly, for a week, and then exactly. No.
Yeah.
So I remember about my year in, I was like, how do I get through this faster? Like, how can I?
Yeah.
I was calling my grandmother in between sessions, sobbing.
Yep.
Like, I can't do this anymore. My weekends were going by like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I can't do this. I was getting physically sick. Like, there was a couple times I had to call out because I was sick in my bathroom.
Yeah.
We'll fill in the blanks there.
Yeah.
Because I had so much anxiety. I wasn't sleeping anymore. Like, and it wasn't just the work, right? It was never the work. It was never the work.
Right.
It was never the work. It was the constant feedback that, don't ask me what's wrong, and I'm going to tell you.
The environment. It was the environment.
And so, like, there was some nitpicking. There was a lot of nitpicking. And I'll just say this. So, I finally got to the point that I said, I physically, mentally, and emotionally cannot do this anymore. And I'm a therapist. And I'm not presenting myself.
No, yeah. And that's the biggest thing, especially in therapy, is they stress, like, we stress, you need to have your mental.
Yeah.
In order to, like, help others with their mental health.
I'll tell you. Let me tell you something.
How are we going to hold space? We have no space.
I have no space. But let me tell you a story. So they would always ask us what we're doing for self-care. If I hear self-care, I'm going to would ask, and they would be like, well, what's your self-care? I looked one time dead in the lady's eyes and said, I have no more self-care. I had to give it up for this job.
No.
Period.
And that's the biggest thing. If your cup is not being filled, you have nothing else to give. You are empty. You are shell.
You are literally shell. And so going back to, I had decided, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and this. One of them was passing my therapy test. One of my therapy tests. I was like, if I pass this, then we're one step closer. Well, I passed it. Whoop whoop. And I said, okay. Well, by this point, it had gotten so detrimental to myself that I applied to grad school, and I ended up getting accepted into a completely different master's program and put my 2 weeks notice in. I said, I can't do this anymore. I don't even want to do therapy anymore, right? So if we go back to like our song earlier of if I can't have you, right? So one of the lyrics that stood out to me is, if I turn away, like all these tears that I've cried are wasted if I turn away. Yeah. And that's literally the best way I could describe that. Like, I spent 6 years learning. I spent hours and hours upon driving, upon doing practicum. We had 900 hours of practicum work before we graduated.
Not to mention the financial component that just went into those 6 years. Let's just not even talk about that.
Like,
and now wasted. Like,
so like there was all of this just weighing on this one decision of, do I leave? Do I start completely over? I don't even want to look at a treatment plan. I don't even want to hear CBT. I don't even want to hear anybody's feelings. Please don't talk to me.
Yeah.
And so I left. I stayed around for one family, and because I had them for a really long time, and I said, I'm gonna wait till y'all's discharge. And I did. I waited till their discharge. And I started, so that was like summer, and I started my program in the fall. So, so I ended up going and starting the program for master's in art history, because I was like, you know what, worst comes to worst, I'll teach. Not teach.
No, not like.
But at a collegiate level. Like, I was like, you know what, I could be a professor. Like, I love art history. That was actually one of the things I had considered during that whole sit down with my advisor, and I was like, maybe I'll just go into art history. Like, I love history. I love art history. Like, I'm such a little nerd. And so I just remember how desperate I felt in that moment of, I've got to get out of this. I hate my life right now. Like, in the most genuine way. Like, I can't even look at what my life is right now, because
and it's also like not what you thought you were getting into. And once again, like you said, it wasn't the work that was the problem. You were not being fulfilled. Like, there's a whole other component to like a career that a lot of people don't talk about. Is it like, you have your work, right? You also have your work environment. And correct. I think it was last episode, I talked about something with an industry job and not saying like, I've quit many a job because I didn't feel valued. If you don't feel valued in a place, like, then what are you doing? Like, you're not going to perform the work that you came there to do.
Correct.
That you do enjoy. Correct. And so it's like,
well, and I think even more so in our career, but I think in general, like, let's go back to education. I know so many teachers who are so exhausted and burned out. I know a lot of therapists. I know a lot of social workers who work within community mental health, which is where I worked, that are so exhausted and worn out. And what are we doing? We work with people, and we could also, in return, cause the trauma or cause more harm, even though we intend good. Like, we have this interaction. We hold such a power in people's lives,
right?
That if we're not aware of our own self, and we're burnt out and tired and having a bad day, and then we take it out on somebody, well, that could affect.
We could say one thing, and it would change the entire trajectory of a treatment. Like, literally. So now
it's
detrimental.
So now I think would I go back and do that 100 times over? Absolutely. I would go back and change the direction of what I thought was going to be my life 100%. So
now that we've given you our life stories of our careers, I think the best thing is just thinking about like you don't have to have it all together. You said that the first episode, you said you don't have to have it together ever.
Never have to have it together.
And I think it is about your 20s. Like we mentioned, like in your 20s, you're figuring it out. You get into this first job, and if you don't like it,
change it.
If you don't like it, change it. Like, here's
If
the
you're able
thing.
to change
Oh
it.
my gosh. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen somebody and the first job that they have, that's their job. I can tell you that they're not happy about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, for some people, I guess it works out. But a lot of people, they're not going to keep their first job.
We're not supposed to be stagnant. Let me say
No. Never peak.
that. Never peak. We're peaking in the grave.
Yes. Because,
But-
like, this whole path that is what is laid out and supposed to happen, like, or the way that you're supposed to do it.
What is that?
What is that?
So what are we doing now?
Yeah, so now that we've both graduated, kind of. We're in the
Mine's
field.
questionable right
Alex
now.
is almost there. Like, yeah. So LPC,
Yes.
Lomas.
So, well,
Lomas counselor herself.
okay. Do you want me to give my update or you want to give yours?
You go with yours.
Okay,
Like,
so yes. So, moral of my story, I left. I ended up practicing under my LPC supervisor. And LPC is licensed professional counselor. Just for those who...
it's the big one.
So, yeah. So, I was able to work under her. And I've been working under her for the past 2 years. I can't remember. Because I ended up taking 6 months off, actually. I had to. I was like so burned out. I was actually crying in her office one time and I was like, I just don't know if I want to do this. And so I worked under her for the past 2 years and I am literally inches away from being officially licensed with that and my art therapy license and completing all of my hours. And I share an office with another therapist and we go to lunch and life is finally something like, I don't know, I feel like this has been the year of changes because everything just kind of accelerated really quickly starting in October of last year and everything has just all fallen into place like it was supposed to. And I finished up my thesis for my second master's and we were just talking about have I graduated yet or not. I don't know, it's pending. I'm just waiting for the degree confirmation. So yeah, I would still love to teach or work at a museum. I don't know, because I love doing therapy part-time. I still get to do all the stuff I enjoy, and I get to speak on art therapy and all of the benefits, and I work at camps during the summer. And so, like I said, I would do the change 100 times over because the amount of autonomy I have over my own life now, I don't remember the 2 years. I remember working.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything else.
It was a grind.
I look at my siblings and I'm like, when did you become this age? Because they were like 13. The oldest one was 13 when I started working.
Yeah.
And then turn around and I'm like, when the heck did you become a high schooler?
Right.
So,
well, and you know, I have talked a little bit about my journey and moving here in Nashville. And so, yeah, I this week officially started my orientation at a psychiatric facility. So definitely working in mental health. I'm super, super excited about this line of work. Still bartending. gotta have that also, you know. We're working the multiple job route right now, but ultimately, Alex and I kind of have this dream of starting a partnership and wanting to have
business one day.
Yeah, one day having kind of like a multi-modality therapy center situation, holistic therapy, treating clients, mental health, and yeah. I might get a massage therapy certification. You never know.
I know.
I'll tack on Reiki. I want to do Reiki and sound healing and all kinds of things. But I graduated and now I just got to take the test.
The test.
So.
Listen, if you are pursuing psychology and you want to be a counselor, I just want you to know the testing never ends. I still have 2 more tests to take.
It's kind of a nightmare.
It's okay.
But you
It's
know what?
fine.
It validates your knowledge on what you know, and it validates your schooling. And because the thing, like music therapy, going off on just like a tad tangent, but the schooling for music therapy, like, yeah, you get the degree. It's not federally regulated as a license. And so because of that, people can just get degrees and start practicing in certain states as music therapists. However, some states do require licensure. And so that is the testing portion, the board certification. But yeah, it's, I feel like, I mean, eventually we'll probably move to a federally regulated licensure.
I'm sure that's, art therapy is licensed, not licensed across the board. It's nationally licensed, but each state is still voting on whether or not they'll have their own state license. Yeah. Anyway, that's for the birds and the bees, and for all of the future. If you have questions, call us.
So I think the biggest takeaway with this is, for me, my advice is trust the process.
Yeah.
Trust your journey. And you know what? I think the bigger picture here is like, whatever is for you will come to you. Whatever is going to happen will happen. However you want to say that phrase, like, it is there for you. And sometimes, you know, a lot of people like to take the interstate, right? And like go there really fast, fastest route, whatever. But a lot of times, like, the scenic route is the best part. You get to see all the different things, and you grow as a person, and you find yourself along the way. And even though it might take a little bit longer, and maybe you're still on the route to get to the destination, but you'll get there eventually. And, you know, you just trust the process.
Right. Yeah, as we were like writing this, I was like, what would I want to tell myself during that big emotional roller coaster? And I think for me, bouncing off that one, there's no right path.
No.
Right path. Like, you make your path. We are pioneers.
And I'm like, dude,
in our wagons.
We chose something that is still like within our realm of what we started with. So who cares if it's not? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, here, let me say this, and we might talk more about this later in a different episode, but you cannot do art therapy without having some form of degree in art. You have to have a bachelor's or a minor. A lot of the people that I went to school with had like dual degrees. So you have to know the medium. You don't just we don't just color in session.
Right. Or same, like, I had to know the theory behind music. I had to know how music operates, like how to read it, and then how like the chords all fit together, and the way that music, the foundation of it, you know?
The way that music is.
The way music.
So, there is no right path, and it's okay to change. It's okay to pivot. It's okay if something's not working out for you. Like, I think that's so funny when we were writing this, because you're like, I don't know if that's like what I want to say, but it is what I want to say. And like, I think back to myself at that age, and I was so like horse with blinders on, and I was
same.
If this isn't how it works out, what's next? I don't even know.
Yes, it's so, and it is scary. And I think it's okay to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Change is uncomfortable. It's supposed to be. Like, we're not meant to just sit and be stagnant and be the same. Once again, we talked about this with like friendships, like, and growing. Like, growth is uncomfortable. You're not supposed to be the same person that you were at 18. No. That you were at 12. That you were whatever. That I was last year even.
I mean, gosh. I feel like I watched our first episode when I was editing it. That was in February of this year. And I was like, who are those people?
Side note, we're sick for the second time.
For the second time.
Like, we have our winter and we have our spring. So.
I swear. But
that's,
yeah, so no, I think that those two things, but also I think there's this fear of I'm wasting my education. No,
I learned it.
I was like, I don't think getting a 4-year degree is a waste. I think that if you don't understand how to go, like, maybe, I don't know, dig deeper with your advisor, dig deeper with people around, like, go and shadow people who are within the field. And if in that moment, like, if it's okay to change, it's okay to change your mind. I know people who change their majors 5-6 times. I know people,
oh my gosh,
who've had 7-8 careers because why not?
Yeah.
So
I did know a guy who was in his undergrad with us in music. He literally, I think he changed like 7 times or something. And I'm like, dude, just get the degree at this point. Just get it. Like, you're literally there. You have 3 degrees at this point. You've taken all the credits. LOL.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. So yeah, no, I think prepare to be uncomfortable. That's what you just said.
Yes.
And yeah, because change is uncomfortable, but if you are unhappy at where you are, guess what? Like,
it's gonna be even worse. It's gonna be even worse.
And think back. Do you want to look at yourself 10 years down the road and see yourself where you are right now? I didn't.
No,
I didn't.
Absolutely
I didn't like
not.
what that was. Let me just stick my finger. Yeah. So that's the signal that it is time to go.
Yes, it's 1:30. It's a.m.
It's 1:32
at 6:30.
Yeah, we have work tomorrow.
Speaking of career,
this is our hobby. So
on that note,
yeah,
please like and subscribe.
Please like, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcast. I think we're on most of them. I haven't looked. But we're also on YouTube, Healing with the Disco Queens, and I post all of our bloopers.
I'm gonna try and make a TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll
We'll do something.
We don't know what we're doing. But so you know, I think we're fine.
Yeah.
So
newsflash: I feel like the episodes get better as we go.
Yes, please. If you
we love growth. I mean, duh.
Listen, look, we've got this now.
Yeah.
Like,
we'll have better equipment. Like, stay tuned. I don't know.
We don't know. We might have a whole crew next time.
We're bringing in a camera crew. My cats are paid actors, so
the cats make an appearance I can hear them in the background.
No, yeah.
You're gonna hear them in the background. Just hear them meow meow meow. It's fine. Well, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
So until next time,
we're groovy and you're groovy, so you should stay groovy.
Bye.
Bye. So,
wait, I'm not even afraid. You said, let's get this over with. For a week and then... Exactly.
All these edits are going in, by the way. No cuts.
No cuts.
Building, whatever I said. About the building.
I held it for 8 minutes.
We love asthma.
If I can't have you,
I don't want nobody, baby.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
And a lot of times you don't get that.
Well, you know, and that's it. The end.